Welcome to The Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for The Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
Today we're talking about how to make some money with your smartphone.
Woo!
We're going to get into the FAA and the registration of drones. There's a lot of websites that have popped up in the last couple of weeks about this.
And they're not all legit.
All but one is not legit. So we'll be talking a little bit about that, so you don't throw away your money and maybe not think you have it registered but don't. Mm-hmm. And of course, we're going to be talking about a new way to test for diseases, which is absolutely fantastic. And we'll get into that in just a couple of minutes here. Have a great weekend, Jim.
Oh, very much so. Did you see what happened to Montel last night?
And everybody, this is Jim Walsh.
Hello.
Producer extraordinaire. Yeah, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, he was supposed to announce the winner of Miss Universe, and I think he said it was supposed to be Marissa Tomei.
Well, that would have been an okay choice, too, I think.
I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel real sorry for Bernie Mac.
I think you need to get the announcer name right as well.
Hey, yeah. He's dead, isn't he?
He had,
Bernie passed away.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
man.
did. Just
well,
a couple
certainly
years
his career
ago.
is now.
Very, very, very young in age.
No,
That's
Steve
right.
Harvey we're talking about.
Right.
And he's not dead. However, his career, flatlining.
Yeah, it might be interesting to see what happens to him.
Or it
here,
might have all been just one big marketing trick.
You never know.
It certainly has gotten him a lot of press. I mean, let's face it, he would never have gotten nearly this much press if he had got it right.
That's correct. But he did have just one job last night.
That's right. One gig, man.
One job.
Thing you had to
Just
do.
had to announce the right name. So.
And, of course, as an announcer, I was talking with our friend Larry down the hall here.
Okay.
And as Larry pointed out, if you're an announcer, you look at that and you go, there but for the grace of God.
And, I will say, I mean, I've never been on even close to the kind of stage that Harvey was on last night, but I have made, I can't even count how many mistakes I've made on this show over the years.
Well, I've called you Scott Wilde on more than one occasion.
Yeah, so it happens. And I get that. I mean, Scott and I look alike. Speaking of which, though, Scott, Marv's going to be here next week as well for end of the year. So we'll have a great show next week as well. So anyway, on the phone, the CEO of Now DX, Kevin Clark. Kevin, how you doing?
Doing excellent. How about you this morning?
Doing fine as well. Really excited to have you on the show. Just to give everybody a little history, I actually toured your facility about 2 months ago. We were down there with a small group of people, and I was so fascinated with your company, just had to bring you on the show here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Now DX does?
Sure. What we've done is we have 6 PCT patents, and 3 more applications all around the microfluidics and how the little device is put together to be able to test using as little as 20 microliters to be able to test for anything from HIV to food intolerance.
I'm going to stop you there a little bit, Kevin. So for the general public, we're doing some type of blood test similar to what you would use for diabetes testing, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So this is... if you think about the glucose test, where you prick your finger, you touch the device to it, you lay it down, and 10 minutes later you have a result.
Okay, so if you're curious about maybe if you have HIV, for example, you could use your kit and actually test for this at home if you wanted to.
My wife and I both have that kit. We use it a couple times a week at least. No, I mean the diabetic.
The
diabetic.
It's good that you clarified that, Jim. Yeah.
Blood sugar. Come on.
Anyway.
That is the goal, is actually to be able to do that testing in the privacy of your home.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
But give us some... So I know when I was there, and I've referred to you as a litmus paper test for diseases on the show many times already. It's pretty similar to that, isn't it?
It is. It is just a straightforward lateral flow assay. With it, the uniqueness is all about the ability to use such a small amount of whole blood, so it's less than a drop of blood.
And, let's talk about HIV testing maybe right now. So what happens in the process right now if you were to actually get tested for HIV?
You go into the doctor. You have a blood tube drawn. You send it off. The doctor will send it off to probably one of the big reference laboratories. You end up waiting, the 2 to 3 days to get the results back. In some cases, you end up having to wait and go back in to see the doctor a second time to get your results.
So this is an expensive process, isn't it?
It is. It's extremely expensive for our healthcare industry.
So with your testing, you would be able to know, like you said, in 10 minutes, and even if it was a trip to the doctor, you would know before you even left the office.
Exactly. There's two major markets for this: the professional point of care testing, which the doctor, the nurse practitioner, someone could do the test right there next to you. The ultimate goal would be to take these OTC and so that you could do them in your own home.
So how many diseases can you test for right now?
So we've got about 36 in our pipeline that we're working on.
36.
We have
unbelievable.
36. Yeah, we have got 6 that are CE marked and 1 that's already FDA approved.
And, I mean, are you thinking that in the future that you'll go way beyond the 36?
Yes. There's at least 50 that we've identified that we want to do, but we're currently working on the 36.
Oh, my goodness. So, okay, and how do we find out more information about your company, Kevin?
Our website is nowdx.com.
NowDX. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, right there on the front of the webpage is links to all of our products and the technology.
So what do you have available in the United States right now?
The test we have right now is pregnancy. So with our pregnancy test, it's a whole blood pregnancy test. It can detect pregnancy 2 to 8 days earlier than the best urine-based tests out there.
Oh, my goodness. And is this available on the market? I mean, can somebody go purchase this at a...
It is for the professional. So right now it's into the hospitals and places like urgent care clinics.
Okay.
The facility, emergency rooms is the perfect example of where it's being used now.
And can you give me we have less than a minute here, but can you give me a real quick example why this is important in the emergency room?
Sure. The liability, I mean, being able to detect pregnancy 2 to 10 days earlier, there's so much in the emergency room that's counterindicated for pregnancy, even x-rays, so to do harm to the fetus. So the earlier you can detect that, the better you can treat the patient.
Fabulous, Kevin. It was a pleasure having you on the show again. Everybody go to nowdx.com to find out more about this amazing new technology that's coming out. After the break, everybody, Rick West, co-founder of Field Agent, will be joining us, so come on back.
Right now, 19.
Weekends with Gary Sullivan, Steve Dahl, and Dr. Bob Martin on Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or thetechranch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to thank all of our listeners across the country and around the world who follow us on the Blueberry Network. Yeah. We're also on the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. We're on TuneIn, iTunes, Roku, Apple TV, the new Google Nexus media player. I brought us up over the weekend on that. And, of course, our own app, Radio Pup.
Yep, Town Square Media, baby.
Yes, that's right. And, of course, we are also on Blab. So if you want to check out
wrong music,
the studio.
Sorry. We want the Star Wars music. Right?
Yes. Did you get to Star Wars, by the way?
Not yet, no.
Okay. Are you planning to go?
I'm going to give it a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Until
just wait for the crowds
die down. Yeah.
I'm kind of in the same group.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I really don't like going to the movies when it's full of kids.
Sure.
I just, my wife and I will go. Maybe Christmas Day we'll go. Maybe.
I'm betting there'll be kids there, though.
I mean, it's not even the movie I really want to see right now. There's a couple others I want to see even more. I want to see Trumbo with Bryan Cranston. It's a very adult-themed movie, not in terms of sex or violence, but a very very adult topic, about it gets very political.
Yep.
That's the movie I want to see right now.
Okay.
And the new Tarantino coming out.
Oh, yeah. That'll be
the
interesting,
Hateful
too.
Eight.
Yeah, that'll
with
be
Kurt
interesting.
Russell and his big old fuzzy bushy thing on his face. Looks like he ate a mouse.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of great movies, so highly encourage people to get out and enjoy them this weekend. Or I guess over the Christmas holiday. I feel like it's the weekend already. It just feels like it, you know, just kind of quiet and things at work.
Well,
so.
Thursday is Christmas Eve, which for some people is a holiday.
It is.
Some people work half a day. Some people don't work at all Christmas Eve. I think the schools close, Wednesday?
Wednesday, probably early on Wednesday, Yep. So, great. Well, anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about how to make money with your phone. This has been a popular topic on the show the last couple of weeks, of course.
Oh, God, yes.
And we've had quite a few discussions, including the next company we're going to be interviewing here. Mr. Rick West, co-founder of Field Agent, is on the line. So, Rick, how you doing?
Man, Marlo, Jim, I am doing great. And I got to tell you, I was listening to you earlier, and there's nothing worse than hearing about what happened to Steve Harvey. I still feel for the guy.
So
Steve Harvey.
I just feel for the guy.
Yeah.
It is kind of...
I kept saying, poor Bernie Mac.
Yeah. Got to get Anyway, it is, it's too bad, you know, but...
I think they should cut Montel a break.
I'm thinking that it'll be a resume enhancement for him, I'm guessing.
Absolutely.
At least he didn't pull an AJ.
Remember
true. That guy?
Yes.
Right here in town.
Yeah, right here in Bismarck. Yeah, that was funny. Well, we'll tell you about that after the break, Rick, what AJ did. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about Field Agent. What is the premise behind the app?
Sure. So as your listeners are out there's two groups of listeners. The first one is that the folks would love to make some cash with our app. And we started Field Agent back in 2010 before the selfie. That's how long this has been. And they can download our app at Google Play or at the App Store. It's Field Agent. And we actually pay people to do tasks while they're out and about. So it's the concept of crowdsourcing. So if you're making those last-second Christmas shopping decisions, you're out and about today, you could stop by and swing by, a place like a Walmart or a Kroger or a Safeway, and we would pay you cash to collect information for us. And it could be as simple as taking a photo or answering a couple of questions. And the good news, Marlo and Jim, is that I don't pay you badges and points. You'll never be the mayor of Field Agent. We pay you cold, hard cash via PayPal, which is exactly what people need this Christmas season.
Absolutely. So, if I wanted to, and I've looked at some of the offers that you have, so the one that caught my eye and that we talk about occasionally is like the beer offer. You can go have a beer, and you'll reimburse the beer cost back plus a couple extra bucks.
Absolutely. We've got, as you can imagine, there are thousands and thousands of locations, and our clients, small businesses and large corporations alike, just really need to have a better idea of what's happening in the market, and who better to provide that information than their core shoppers. So if you're a procurer of beer and you like a good beer on a Monday evening, why not go to a local establishment, try a beer, and we'll pay you for it, and then answer a couple of questions. So what's not to like? Yeah,
it's absolutely fantastic. And the other thing is that it's not like you have to wait, weeks or months to get reimbursed, right?
That's exactly right. We hold true to the concept that if you actually provide a service, you need to get paid for that quickly. So we, in most cases, get back to people within hours, no less than 24 hours. That if you completed something today and you've been completing that task, you have that information and that cash back in your PayPal account within hours, at the minimum within 24 hours.
That's pretty cool. So give me a couple other examples. Let's say I have a grocery store that's on my drive home tonight. Is there a possibility I can make a couple extra bucks there?
Absolutely. So let's take the average person probably makes, $40, $50 in a month on the way to work, on the way while they're shopping. But we had a husband and wife couple in the Minneapolis area that each made $2,500 each just checking our app on the way to work, at lunchtime, and on their way home. So you can make some serious money if you focus on it.
That's very interesting. So, and to fill out the quick survey or whatever, what kind of time commitment is there usually on something like that?
In most cases, it's a matter of minutes. If you opened up our app today and you saw that we were paying you $4 to go do something or $10 to go do something, you're not going to travel across town to make that happen. But the good news is, while you're out and about, if you stop on your way home, in most cases, it's going to take you anywhere from 5 to 6 minutes for a task. So $5 for 5 to 6 minutes is a pretty good hourly rate. But again, this isn't going to replace your current position or your current job, but it's definitely a way to make some really quick mad money or some extra cash for this Christmas season.
And the whole point of this is that you might be frequenting these businesses already. You're just, the companies that are involved in this are just looking for feedback, right?
Yeah, it really are, and that was really our epiphany. We were a research firm trying to use technology, and we realized there's hundreds of thousands of people out there today shopping at any given moment. So in our case, we've got about 630,000 people that have downloaded our app here in the U.S. And any given time, there's always going to be someone close to a restaurant or a retail environment that wouldn't mind stopping in to pick up a few dollars, or they're pushing their cart and they check the app and say, wow, I'm already standing by the produce aisle, I'm already standing by electronics, why not answer a couple of questions and make $5 while I'm standing here?
Yeah, it's a fantastic concept. It really is. So tell me a little bit on the business side. How, if a business wants to participate, how do they go about getting a hold of you, and what are the benefits to them?
Yeah, let's do the communication part first. It really is pretty simple. If you're a small business and want to log in, it's like filling out a survey, swipe a credit card, and we can have agents go out and collect information for you and send it back to you. If you're a larger corporation and you're trying to do a longer study, we've got dedicated account management and client services people here, and they can send an email to me, and I'd send it to rick.west@fieldagent.net, and I'll personally make sure that we have someone take care of you. And so what happens with that is, if you're looking at information you need from a store, part of the premise behind of us launching Field Agent was that, Marla, Jim, you could have the three of us go and provide information about cosmetics or fragrances or something like that. But what would be even more impressive is if I could send a 25 to 35-year-old woman that currently buys CoverGirl, and I send her to go capture the information and ask her a couple of questions. That's the brilliance of this. So the businesses that are sitting out there, it's not just capturing information, but it's sending individuals that are out there that you're currently your core shoppers or consumers. We send them out and provide you vital information back. So
and that's really honing in. Yeah, that's real marketing for you.
It really is. And you can imagine if you've got hundreds of thousands of people at your fingertips, and they really are your core consumer of a beer or your core consumer of a very specific cosmetic, it's difficult to find those folks. And think about it, Marlo, when was the last time you actually filled out a paper survey? It's probably been a while.
It's been a long time, yeah.
But if I pinged you with a push notification on your app and said you want to make $10 today answering these questions, you'd probably say yes.
Although I will say, I did get the Nielsen survey not that long ago. I'm surprised they still do that on paper.
Yeah, it is. Part of it is you've got brick and mortar systems that are out there that are tried and true. And there are folks that are still going to fill out those surveys, especially based on demographics, and they have to hit that. But in today's world, you can't wait 3 months to get information back.
That's correct.
Our clients come to us because they need to have something this afternoon or tomorrow, and we're the guys that can deliver that for them.
So you can actually dial into a local business as well, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be a huge corporation. It could be a mom-and-pop store in Mandan, North Dakota.
Absolutely. So if I'm a mom-and-pop store there and I'm running a restaurant, or I've got a small product or a boutique, I can use Field Agent to do mystery shopping, or I can check my competitors out and try to understand, what that looks like. So it really can be as simple as one transaction that'll probably cost someone $10, or we can go nationally and go to 10,000 Walgreens and tell you exactly what's happening in Walgreens this weekend. So it's really, really simple for the one store or one piece execution, or it can be very, very broad for national exposure.
So do you see this as, how is this different than like the mystery shopper type of deal?
Yeah, so think about mystery shoppers being trained professionals that are going to go in and answer 50 questions and be trained on a certain rating scale. So let's use something as simple as deciding whether or not the floor is clean or the food looks a certain way in a scale of 1 to 5. That's really important. You need that, for all the traditional reasons of doing mystery shopping. But what if I told you on a scale of 1 to 5, I send in a shopper and they said, listen, I know a scale of 1 to 5 is this, but for me personally, I didn't think the food was a certain way, or I didn't think the bathroom was a certain level of cleanliness. We provide insights and perspective from real shoppers, and that's why it's different. You're still going to use brick and mortar mystery shopping, but you're going to bring us in, and we're going to give you better insights because we're bringing in raw shopper information that mystery shoppers simply can't do.
All right, Rick, we're against the clock here. Tell us again, how do we get your app?
Hey, you go to Google Play or you go to iTunes and download the Field Agent app. We're the orange background with the white tie. You cannot miss us. Or they can come to me direct. I'll put my email out there again. It's rick.west@fieldagent.net, and we would love to help out your shoppers today. And I'll tell you this, if they say that Marlo and Jim sent you, I'll give them a $250 credit for this Christmas season just because they said Marlo and Jim sent them.
Wow, great. All right, everybody, after the break, we'll be bringing in Miss Metaverse. We'll be talking about FAA drones and all kinds of cool stuff, so come on back.
Right now, 19.
Super Talk 1270. On the go and wherever you are at supertalk1270.com.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we were just talking with Rick West with Field Agent.
Yeah.
So do you have the app yet?
Not yet.
Jim? Okay.
What's the app called?
Field Agent. I think
Field Agent.
I'm going to start using it here. With my traveling, of course, I should be able to actually take advantage of making a few dollars here and there.
And be sure, if you get it today, be sure and mention that you heard about it on the Tech Ranch.
On the Tech Ranch. And especially if you're a business that wants to sign up, he's going to give you $250 on towards your first campaign. I thought that was pretty cool. So,
very sweet.
Yeah. So anyway, go get that, everybody. Go get Field Agent on the phone. Of course, joining us, and of course, live on Blab as well, Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino. Katie, how are you?
I'm doing well, Marlo. How are you doing?
Doing great as well. We are, of course, coming up on the end of the year here.
Yeah, time to start doing that year-end perspective thing, I guess.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. Of course, Brian Reinbold is also joining us on Blab. He's not actually on the phone with us, but Brian's kind of handling the Blab side of things today. So if people have questions or whatever, feel free to ask away in the room. And, of course,
we have to officially dub Brian a friend of the show.
Yes. He officially is a friend.
He is a friend of the show.
Or maybe a friend as well. I'm not sure.
I hope so.
Yeah. He's got lots of packages coming from me this week, too, so he should be pretty excited about that. Yeah, technology stuff coming his way, including a new microphone, so maybe he'll be able to talk to us next week.
Maybe a shotgun microphone.
He's laughing now. It's funny. So anyway, Katie, we're going to talk a little bit about flying cars and drones and all kinds of cool stuff. So let's get into the drone registration thing a little bit. So as of today, you have to up to, I think you got till February 21st or something like that. Sometime in February, you have to, if you have a drone right now that weighs over 0.55 pounds up to 55 pounds, you have to register it. And there have been a plethora of new websites that have sprung up to do this, and they all charge $25, $50. I've seen one for $200 on there. And what's the story on those, Katie?
Well, I haven't really looked into all these other websites, and I believe that there's a million of them just popping up now. But I know that you are encouraged to register through the FAA.gov website, and that's where it's the platform to go use when you want to register your drone. And I think that we really need to kind of really make sure everybody knows that you have to register your drone here in the States starting today, December 21st. So if you're getting it for Christmas, you better make sure that you register it.
Yeah, exactly. And go to FAA.gov/UAS/registration. If you go to any other website, it is bogus. And by the way, it's a $5, not $25, $50, $250. It's just a $5 fee if you register right now. And if you register now, between now and I think January 16th, they refund it back to you. I have no idea why they're taking it from you and then refunding it back to you later. That makes absolutely no sense to me. But that's what they're doing for the first month or so. So if you have a drone that weighs more than 0.55 pounds, so those little toy drones that you have in your house or whatever, none of those weigh more than a half a pound, and you're okay with not registering them. But if you have like a DJI Phantom or anything in that realm, basically if it has GPS on it, it's probably going to weigh more than a half a pound.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I determine that. But you might want to just wait and see to make sure. So anything else on that, Katie?
No, I mean, the only thing you have to really know about this is that there really are some serious strict rules about this. If you don't do it, they're saying on the FAA website that you could face both civil and criminal penalties. So it sounds pretty serious to me.
Yeah, they're trying to scare people, of course. I don't know how they would police it, but if you do something, it's kind of like the seatbelt law, in my opinion. For many states, if you don't wear seatbelts, you're not going to get pulled over for wearing seatbelts. But if you get pulled over for speeding, they're going to get you on the secondary thing of not wearing seatbelts.
I'm thinking it's probably like paying your taxes. I mean, they're not going to. We all know they're not going to come barging down your door with a battering ram on April the 16th if you happen to forget to file. But I mean, down the road, you could pay a bit of a price.
Well, and if you do something that might not be, maybe you land in somebody else's yard or something like that, and somebody reports you, and all of a sudden it's not registered. Now you've really broken the law.
I would think liability there could be an issue if you wind up in the civil court for any reason that could work against you.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you want to register it, and we need to do that to figure it out. But because I need to register, I have a couple drones that will fall into that as well. But anyway, let's move on a little bit. Katie, you wanted to talk about the new flying car that went out for a test?
Yes, and one last thing, too. Just going back to what we were just talking about, we had a question here in Blab, and somebody asked, is it 0.55 pounds or 55 pounds if you have to register it? So you have to register the drone you do not have to register it if it's below 0.55 pounds or less. So like you said before, Marlo, if it's a toy, you don't have to register it.
Right. So, but it is 0.55 pounds to 55 pounds. So if it weighs 2 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever, when you get to 55 pounds, it's a whole different craft. In fact, they consider it an aircraft at that time, and you have to be a licensed pilot and all of that at this time to be able to fly those type of drones. So anything from 0.55 to 55, you have to go out and register.
Very cool.
So
speaking of flying aircrafts, very excited about this one.
Okay.
Flying cars are here. They're coming.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about what happened.
Okay, so Terrafugia is a flying car company that's kind of been around for at least a year. It's really been talked about. And it's becoming more and more popular. It's kind of been out there, but something really big just happened recently, and Terrafugia just got their FAA approval to test their flying cars in our airspace, in the U.S. airspace. So this is huge. We're going to have flying cars doing their test flights around our skies in the Northeast American region. So it's really cool.
So tell me about the process about a flying car. I mean, can they just take off from any road, or how does that whole process work?
Well, flying cars are different. There's different ones. Some of them have a vertical takeoff and landing. Other ones are more like traditional airplanes where they have to go down a runway and then kind of fly. And it really depends. I believe the Terrafugia is the one that just has a vertical takeoff and landing, which is really cool.
Okay. And anybody else that has anything on the market that you're thinking might be available here in the near future?
It seems like Terrafugia is really kind of being the disruptor here, the first one to kind of really just come out and be like, flying cars are here. There are other companies, like there's the Aerocar, and there's so many. I mean, like we were saying on a previous show, how flying cars have been talked about since forever. I mean, even in the 90s, there was the Moeller Sky Car, which I like to joke about because that was a fail. But the Terrafugia car looks cool, looks like the future, and it kind of seems very practical as well. I mean, you could probably just take off right from your own driveway with a vertical takeoff. You don't have to worry about any of that other stuff. So it's definitely exciting.
And is there going to be some type of registration as well? If you go out and buy one of these, like you would register an airplane or like your new drone or whatever, what's the story behind that?
I think it's kind of, I think it's still in the legislation phase. I think that we still have to figure out exactly how we're going to go about it. I believe right now, I think that you can operate it with a driver's license. I'm not sure if you have to have an actual license to fly, but I would imagine so. But then another thing too, we have to factor in autonomous cars. I mean, that's another thing too. How are we going to deal with people who perhaps don't have a license but drive autonomous cars, or if they're autonomous flying cars, will we have to get licenses? So it's kind of up in the air still.
So are they building some autonomy into the flying side of the Moeller?
Absolutely, and that's one of the most exciting parts about it. It's not just a regular flying car. You don't have to just drive it. It'll just autonomously fly for you. So I think, if you really think about it anyway, we've had robots, really artificial intelligence, flying for us anyway in most of our commercial flights that we take today. So it's not going to be much of a huge difference. It's obviously super reliable. The only thing that the pilots really do nowadays is just take off and landing. So I think that this technology, especially autonomous flying cars, will just kind of smoothly go right in. I think that we'll be able to figure it out, but I'm excited about it. I can't wait.
And how fast do they go when they're in the air?
I'm not entirely sure. I think I read it was something around 200 miles per hour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, that will get you around a little bit then. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely.
And are you going to be able to use regular airports with that, or are you going to have to use more regional airports for these?
I believe it's regional airports. That's at least what I read so far. And that kind of makes sense, too, because I don't know if they would allow, like, major airports, like over here in New York, we have JFK or LaGuardia. I don't think that either one of those would allow people flying cars. But you never know. It is really packed nowadays anyway. But as I said before, if we have these vertical takeoff and landing enabled flying cars, we won't have to worry about that. We could be like something out of a science fiction movie, go out of our house, hop in our flying car, take off right from our own driveway. I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, actually. I expect in the next, the first couple evolutions of this, you'll need some type of airport to utilize them. But you're right, as soon as they get the vertical lift, and who knows, I might be wrong with that. I don't know. But things are progressing pretty fast.
Totally, and even just going back to the Future Part 2, flying cars. In that movie, they had flying highways, and I'm excited. Every single science fiction movie. I was watching Star Wars last night, and not the new one, but I was watching the prequels. And when I was watching it last night, wow! I mean, just to see how there's always flying cars and flying highways. So I hope that something like that does happen.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. All right, everybody. After the break, I think we're pushing up on that there, Mr. Jim. We will continue our discussion with Katie about flying cars and other things that happened in 2015. So come on back.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we're finishing up our discussion on flying cars with Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino and the tech geezer himself, Mr. Jim Walsh.
Hey!
So would you be willing to go into a flying car?
I tried it once with these couple of guys from Ohio.
And?
Hey, we went down to some beach in North Carolina.
They wouldn't have the last name of Wright, would they?
Right? No, it was Lipschultz.
Well, we're glad that you had that opportunity there, tech
he went
geezer.
back to sleep.
Yeah. Anyway, we were just finishing up that discussion. And Katie, I wanted to take the last 15 minutes because we only have one show left in the year here. We're kind of getting together a special entourage of people. Scott Wild, Marv Dorner will be joining us next week in studio, and of course you'll be on as well. And I just want to get a head start on that a little bit. Starting to talk a little bit about the things that happened to us in 2015. Are there any special interviews or things that you got to do in 2015 that maybe 5 or 10 years ago you would have never even dreamed possible?
Well, there certainly is. And there's this place I went to this year that was called Bismarck, North Dakota.
Yeah, you were here, actually.
And it was really, really awesome. And I was so excited to be there. And it was a great event. I really enjoyed it. I look forward to coming back next year, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that'd be great. But on the technology side, I mean, did you see anything, start thinking, like at a Maker Faire or anything along those lines?
Absolutely. So many things.
Okay.
I think one of my highlights as far as tech goes would be I got to hang out with the founders of OpenBCI, which is Open Brain Computer Interface.
Okay.
And what was really cool is I got to wear this helmet and use my mind to control a computer.
Wow. And how did that go?
it was really, really cool to experience because I had written a report on my website, which is futuristmm.com, and it was a report that kind of went into details about this type of technology and whether or not we're far away from being able to control technology using our minds, which is something I think we've all been kind of looking forward to. So being able to actually go to the Maker Faire and meet them in person, it was really cool. And it was funny, too, because I was on a mission to go try that technology out before the day ended, but time just flew by so fast. We got to see so many cool 3D printers, multi-material 3D printers. There was drones that were in battle with one another. There was all kinds of huge robots and a robot that was shooting fire flames out of it and stuff. It was huge. It was like 100 feet tall.
Him fighting
Not that
drones.
tall, but
So have you had a chance to try out the new Oculus Rift yet?
I have not tried the Crescent Bay one,
Okay.
and I have not tried the one that everyone is talking about, the speculation that it's coming out, hopefully, I think in April, I believe, right?
Yes, it is. Although I have a feeling that they'll be showing it off a little bit at CES. I had the opportunity at CES, in January to try out their beta version at the time of Oculus Rift, and of course had the film crew in there with me, and it was unbelievable when you had the thing on. It felt like there was a dinosaur about ready to grab you. I mean, after about 2 or 3 minutes and you get immersed in what's going on around you, you start, I remember going, like you're walking along and I was about ready to step off this huge cliff that I didn't even realize was there. So you're like balancing yourself. And it really was very real. To the point that your senses felt like you were in this world. It was crazy.
Yes, I've had the Oculus Rift DK2, the developer kit, for over a year now. And because of that, I was able to really kind of be one of the first people to go behind the scenes and try out the Oculus Rift. And not only that, but thanks to a lot of my colleagues out there, shout out to you guys, thank you so much for this, I was able to get some drivers so I could start playing video games, like games through, let's say, Steam, and be able to, I played Alien Isolation with Oculus Rift, and it was so scary. It was awesome.
Yeah, Oculus Rift is absolutely amazing. Now, Brian Reinbold just posted in here, food replicators with a question mark. Now, there are no such thing as food replicators yet. However, there are 3D printers that are starting to come into this realm that you can, and they have, they're experimenting with food packs. So it's not just that you can print a chocolate bar, which, it's kind of cool, but, you can make a mold for chocolate and do that, So you see stuff like that coming out, but they're actually making food packs where you can combine ingredients and create things. Yeah. So that's kind of where that's going. Have you seen this yet, Katie?
I saw so much of that when I was out in the Maker Faire this year. I saw there was one person who had a 3D printer that was, what is going on my phone? I'm sorry about that. And, it looks like Blab just totally freaked out on me. Okay, so what I was saying is that there was a 3D printer that 3D prints Nutella.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, awesome. Actually, yeah. So there's going to be a lot of advances. Yeah. A lot of advances coming in that world, that's for sure. So my biggest thing, I'm trying to think of in 2015, of course, I have had the privilege of riding in many autonomous vehicles.
We talked about Leno on the show, that new car.
He had a 3D printed.
He rode in a small car that was actually printed with one of those 3D printers.
So what kind of car was that?
Oh, it was just some little tiny dinky thing. I swear it looked like a Yugo. Okay. Real small. Obviously, it's a prototype. I mean, they're going to get a lot bigger and better.
Absolutely. And I think, I actually, at the Maker Faire in Charlotte, there was one there that was actually a sports car that was printed and pretty cool. Katie, you want to... we're getting a little feedback on your side, Katie.
Nice shot of your door there, Katie.
Honestly, Blab has been giving me such a hard time every single time. It's such a shame. It really is. Because I really like it, but it's with the feedback and the audio and then it just playing and not being able to turn my phone off. Very odd.
Yeah, I get it.
A little glitchy from time to time, but it is. You got to get the bugs out.
It's a beta. There's no doubt about it. So, so anyway, you're much better now, Katie. So, so I think the biggest thing for me has probably been the autonomous vehicles. I had two experiences. one in the BMW, or the BMW by Delphi. So it was Delphi. Let me take that back. That was an Audi that they had outfitted with their equipment. And we rode around Las Vegas, and the car drove us around. It circumvented an accident. And Vegas is in.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean,
what did it drive around the accident?
Well, it drove around what I would have considered us having an accident. If I was driving the car, I think I would have hit the car in front of us. But the autonomous vehicle, instead of swerving to the left like you and I would, we'd look to the left and try to see if there's an opening. This car actually went to the right because there was an opening there and drove right around it like there was nothing to it. So very, very impressed with what Delphi has going on. I don't think a lot of people realize that. And the other thing with autonomous vehicles that people don't realize is that anytime you want, you can take over control of it. You just grab the wheel or just step on the brake just like cruise control. So, and then, of course, last week, was it last week? Last week, the week before here, I was in Dallas-Fort Worth and got to ride in the Peterbilt autonomous truck, and we drove around the Texas Motor Speedway on that. So those are things that I think you're going to start seeing coming out, which I think is pretty cool stuff.
Absolutely. So exciting. And there is so much coming out. I can't wait to see what's in store for 2016. I feel like this is the year of virtual reality. This is the year of wearable tech. We're going to see so many different technologies converging in 2016, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I agree. So anything else that stands out for you, Katie? What about the boots that we talked about 5-6 months ago that enhance running?
Yes, so that was really great. I actually, that was the previous year that I met with Kiahi Seymour, who is the inventor of the Bionic Boot. And you can check it out. If you Google Bionic Boot, you can see his website. It's bionicboot.com. And I also interviewed him for Awesome Future TV, which is my YouTube channel. And but in this last year, the Bionic Boot went mainstream, and everyone was able to see it on television. He was on the Discovery Channel. And so definitely keep your eyes open for him because it's very exciting. It's these cool boots that go right over your shoes, and you could run. And they mimic the type of running of like an ostrich. So it's super fast. It looks super futuristic. And I hope that we're able to buy them maybe this year. Who knows?
Is there I guess we're coming up on the end of the hour, so I can't even ask you the question. Katie, it's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Brian, thanks for being in the Blab Room today. Appreciate you handling everything. And remember, everybody, you can always catch us live on Blab every week now and see what the studio looks like. And the Tech Geezer. You can check them out. So.
Real quick again, what was the app for the secret shopper thing for making the money?
Field Agent.
Field Agent.
Go get the app, everybody. Yeah, go make a couple bucks over Christmas holiday. All right, everybody.
Mention that you heard it here and you'll get a deal.
That's right. Yeah, mention that you heard it on the Tech Ranch. You'll get a deal on there. So, all right, everybody, appreciate you being on the Tech Ranch this week. And next week, Marv Dorner and Scott Wild will be in studio with Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino. So we'll see you then.
Merry Christmas.
You've been listening to The Tech Ranch, live and local on Super Talk 1270. Keep ahead of the trends. Tune in every Monday morning at 11 a.m. for The Tech Ranch. Exclusively here on Super Talk 1270 and online at supertalk1270.com.